Hi, I'm Heather. I'm back. I'm here to inspire you with a daily dose of reality, creativity, killer recipes, and a side of laughter. It just might be a little different, but I used to do this 2 years ago, so we'll just get back into the groove of doing it. I have to be honest, it was really great to do part one of the change video, and I just am so incredibly just blown away and thankful for all of the viewers and all of the responses and being able to have a conversation about change. Certainly, I mean, it just couldn't be any more timely. So if you didn't catch the first version, you can catch the first version. It's on these pages. But we'll do a little bit of a review, and I just realized you guys will get used to this. I came up here without my glasses, so if you see me squinting and looking down at my notes, you know why. So the first video talking about change, we really were trying to focus on, life is just ever changing and change is just part of the process, and that's what we have to go through. And the trick in life and in change is to learn from each time you have to experience change and grow in it and understand if you're fortunate enough to have a lot of change, good, bad, or the otherwise in your life, you're going to become an expert on change. So it does, if you are able to get takeaways from every time you experience change in your life. Some of them might be positive, some of them might be negative, but each time, if you can pack those up into your change luggage, and then the next time change comes around, you go and open up that suitcase and you're like, oh, this again. Oh, I'm going to handle it differently. That kind of thing. If you take stock, it's going to make it a lot easier. So that was the number one part of my list of 3 things I gave you a couple nights ago, was to keep a list. And that list is sort of like all the stuff that you're going to stuff in the change suitcase. Keep track. I know some people that are experts in change, and they have just change notebooks that are just full of all the change they've gone through in life. And they look back at it and they use it to propel them forward. They use it, what's a good word? Oh, come to me. As momentum for the next thing. I love that word, momentum. Sort of goes with my word of the year, which is harmony, which I've really been spending a lot of time with today. So maybe I'll have, maybe the next video will have something to do with harmony. But so we're keeping a list. We're looking for ways to change and incorporate, ways to change up your routine, and to make life more interesting, to make life more enjoyable, to make sure that in life you are not stuck in a rut, right? And then the next thing we talked about is embracing the change and seeing the good in change, even if you don't want to see the good in change, okay? So, there might be a few moments of shock and awe, but just like I've always talked to a lot of people about, this, the shock and awe and how you react to change should be a lot like that philosophy. And here's, another video, I guess I should do a refresher on it, about how you react to things and how long you let yourself stew. There was a long time ago where I would let myself stew for, forever, it seemed like. And then I started thinking about all the stewing and all the wasted energy when I could have been propelling myself forward. And then so I thought, okay, well then I'll just stew. I started to narrow it down. 5 months I'd stew. And then that seemed ridiculous. So I'd say, okay, well 5 weeks I'll stew. And then I would say, well, this is really dumb. So I'm just going to stew for 5 days. That even seemed like a chore. And so now I really, y'all, Scouts honor, when anything has me frustrated or feeling down, I really try. And most times I actually set an alarm because time gets away from us. I really only let it get to me for 5 minutes. It's super hard to do. That type of what do you call that? That type of, not restraint, but that type of focus to do something like that took a long time to hone in on. It took me a long time to get to, 5 minutes of stewing, okay? Because sometimes stewing is great, right? It's like, you want to kick the dog. Well, not really. No one wants to kick the dog, but you know what I mean. So, before I get too much off track, let's just finish up the list. There were 5 things. So I gave you the 3 in the last video. And then the next 2 with regard to change. And this is a part that's relationship driven. So it's this can be hard because as you start to take stock of the people around you, the people you surround yourself with, you need to make sure that those are really great people. Those are people that embrace change. Those are people that can stew for 5 minutes and move on. They tend to be optimistic people, but not so their head in the clouds that they aren't grounded in reality either. They tend to be very open-minded. They tend to be very inclusive instead of exclusive. They tend to have a vast array of experiences in their life that have brought them to this ability to understand change and accept change. They also, this is an interesting one, and I know this word frightens many of you, but many times change-oriented people are risk takers, and they like taking risks. And even if it means a mistake, even if it means a falter, they're willing to take the risk. A lot of people take risks when they see that the deck is stacked in their favor, the house is on their side, and that's an easy risk, right? But change-oriented people and people who are really open-minded and inclusive and willing to move forward tend to be, I guess those types of risk takers, are those called measured risk takers instead of calculated risk takers? I don't know, maybe some of you can school me on all of that. But those types of people, if you can find them, you might be like, well, shoot, that just cut out like 90% of the circle. Okay, sometimes that happens, but sometimes you need to clear the way. And that's okay because it's like that pegboard of life I talk about. When the pegboard is full with all the wooden pieces, you have nowhere to remove. You have nowhere to move. You have nothing to invite in because the pegboard is full. And if you look at your circle and you look at how many of those people are change-oriented people and have the characteristics that I just explained, you might be able to take some of those pegs out, and then all of a sudden you have holes and space to invite new and fresh in. And that's an exciting place to be. It's a little bit scary, and sometimes it takes longer than you want it to, and you might feel a little bit lonely for a little, but I promise you the universe has a crazy way of working with this whole idea. So you want to make it a point to surround yourself with people who view change as not only good, but necessary and vital to living a purposeful life. It's so great. It's so hard though. I know some of you are listening are like, God, I hear you. And I want to be this excited about change, but I can't do it, Heather. I get it, okay? This is a process, just like everything else, and you have to make time to work on it. So the next thing, 5, as I said in video 1, y'all know I like a good list. So the next one, and I think that sometimes this is overlooked because when you get to a certain point in accepting change and living a life of purpose, you might not reflect on this one as much as maybe back in the beginning. So what you want to be able to do is take note of how you grew in the situation. Because every time you hit change, every time it comes at you, every time, it's going to be slightly different. It might put wind in your sails. It might take all of the wind out of your body and all the breath out of your being. Sometimes it might just be like, it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes it's a big deal. Sometimes it hurts your heart. Sometimes it fills your heart. So if you can take stock each time and see how you grow, it takes a little reflection. It takes making time for timeouts when you're going through change so that you can realize the change, because sometimes you just get really good at this and you don't even realize, or sometimes you get so involved in it and you let it hold you back so much that you're not changing at all and you're regressing. Am I going too fast tonight? Hold on, let me take a sip of water. I just got this, it'll probably be backwards, but I got the cutest little Doxy gifts today in the mail. A little Doxy, like wind sock for the garden, the legs run. So cute. It was a good mail day. Aren't good mail days fun? So you want to make sure that you feel the growth. You understand the growth so that you can take that, and the next time you have to experience change, you can recognize those feelings. Because let's be honest, a lot of times we have feelings towards things and we don't even recognize it, right? Until it's too long or it comes up again. And then we're like, oh gosh, I felt like this the last time. And you don't realize it until the next time. But if you can take stock of your feelings and how you're growing and how you feel, you will be able to, really excel in the learning process of accepting change. Guys, it's never easy. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it is, but it can be done. You can change, you can create change within yourself, within your own community, within your own life, within your own family, within your own business organization. You can, but you're gonna have to think about all this stuff and you're not gonna be able to do it alone. That's my best advice to you. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, it's a Monday night. I'm used to doing videos on Monday evenings, so I figured, hey, you know what? It's time to go live. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you keep showing up and I'll keep showing up. And as always, I ask you to be well.